Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to the tasting room in South Central Tennessee. I am your friend, Inventory Reduction, doing my best to keep the distillery in operation in my own little special way. Today, I wanted to talk to you about Jack Daniel's 10-year-old whiskey, which came out late in the year in 2020. And you can see by this White Rabbit hang tag here, which you get if you purchase the bottles at the White Rabbit gift shop, that you get that little wooden hang tag. It's been off and on lately with different things that have happened during the coronavirus years here. But late in the year, I know it was very cold. The Jack Daniel's Distillery announced that they were going to produce their first bottle in 100+ years that had been specifically denoted with an age demarcation on it. So this whiskey was aged 10 years. Now, if you don't know specifically, most Jack Daniels is aged between 4 and 6 years in the barrel. They call it rested, depending on what tour guide you got on a particular day, I suppose. But how long that whiskey's rested in the barrel comes down to the taste test. And what happens is they have a group of tasters, and then there's master tasters. And the way I understand it, and everything comes down to what I can gather when I'm at the distillery talking to employees and Brown-Forman and Jack Daniels, that there's about 120 people that are tasters at any given point. And those people determine when whiskey is ready to be bottled. Now, your black label Jack Daniels, what we've grown up and what Lemmy used to spray about on stage, if you know the reference, that whiskey is tasted and it's blended together, it's mingled, if you will, with all the other barrels in the bottling operation, and they use some limestone spring cave water, and they get you a nice 80 proof bottle of whiskey nowadays. But this was a special whiskey, and they've done this special release thing here and there, but this bottle was aged in new oak barrels for 10 years. And it was a special program that had been put aside. And I hate to throw numbers out there, but I've heard as many as 3,000 barrels were in the program. And they're going to come out with, according to what I've been told, a 12-year and a 14-year and a 16-year. And I think they eventually want to get to a 21-year-old whiskey. But that's all hearsay. It's not official information from the distillery. It's just what I get from living so close I can run over there and have coffee with the employees in the morning. So you get what you pay for here on the channel. But this was a very interesting bottle. And you had to stand in line, and there were people that came from all over the central part of the United States that I'm aware of, and they stood in line. They put chairs and sat out and parked in their car because it got down into the freezing. It was under freezing there that night, and so they sold about 400 bottles at the distillery the next morning. You had to stand in line, and I did wake the lovely Mrs. Inventory Reduction. She really doesn't reduce inventory nearly as much as I do. But she went over there with me, and we got 2 bottles of this. And we opened one of the bottles, and we got to taste this. And it's a fine whiskey. I mean, there's... the worst Jack Daniels I ever had was Marvelous. I'll just say that right now. There's a couple of them that I wish just tasted like Jack Daniel's whiskey. But this was a fine whiskey, and it's sought after. And one of the nice things I like about this is it came in a special glass. All right, so this was a specific bottle, and it didn't share this look, although I will say that this looks a whole lot like the glass they did on the 150th anniversary bottle, but it has the fluting around the neck, and it has the Jack Daniel's signature script on the front of it, and it has this wraparound label on it, and just a nice bottle. And I say this whiskey is very dark, and I don't know if that comes from being in the barrel for 10 years, but there you go. There's a 10-year-old Jack Daniel bottle of whiskey. So these things are, again, they're hard to get. They're not the easiest bottle to find. What's happening here with the collectors situation is kind of what was happening with the microbrew, but I think there's more money involved in it nowadays with the bourbons, and so bourbon collectors have decided that these limited edition bottles are worth a lot more. So if you bought this bottle over at the White Rabbit gift shop, you paid $70 some for it. It wasn't $80. It was under 80. And then I saw them going for $300, $400, $500. If you, my good friend Dale and I went up to Nashville and beat around the bushes up there trying to find these things in liquor stores when they had been released, and we weren't able to really find anything on the shelf up there. And the ones that were on the shelf, they wanted, outrageous aftermarket prices for. So that's just the way the market goes, and it is what it is. You either want the thing, you want to stand in line all night over at the distillery, or you're going to pay, the inflated prices for people that want to sell them for that. So it's a good whiskey. I know we're coming into middle of January here down by the distillery. It's going to be mid-January 2023. Happy New Year. And they are going to release the 12-year now. So it's already been taken out of the barrels, I'm sure. It may already be in the bottles. But we'll see what the distillery does. The most current release that they did, and I've got a video, if you go back and look at my channel, there was a special release of the twice barreled Oloroso sherry cask whiskey, and that came out. And what the distillery did was kind of neat. They posted at midnight the night before they put them on sale at the White Rabbit bottle shop, and so that made it so that the local people could get over there and get themselves a bottle at shelf price. And you were limited to one bottle, and ultimately this stuff is made to drink, but it's become a collector's market. So if you got one of those bottles, or if you get a chance to get one of those bottles, they're pretty decent. I haven't tasted one yet. I'm hoping to someday. But I will tell you that this was a good whiskey. Without regard to what's going on in the collector situation, it's fun to be able to grab these bottles. I hope that the 12-year is put out, one of these overnight sensation releases, I'll call it. And if that's the case, I will wake Mrs. Inventory Reduction up and drag her over there. She's not a woman that likes to get up too awful early. She worked a good part of her life at a major retail place that has a big yellow W in front of it, if you might be aware of those in your area. So she has earned the right to sleep in at certain mornings, but by golly, if they come out with one of these 12-year bottles, I'd sure like to be able to taste one and do my part to reduce inventory. So that's where we're at. Hope everybody's having a great January day. It is a beautiful day here. It got pretty cold down here in South Central Tennessee for us, but we got plenty of whiskey to keep us warm, and I hope all of you do too. So enjoy yourselves. Be sure and like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos, and drink responsibly, and make sure to keep that distillery in business. We all want that to happen. So I hope you're having a great 2023, and thanks for joining.